Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So I think Dr. Birol is also there. I'll request Dr. Birol to switch on your, if you can switch on your camera so that we can just have a formal introduction.
Hello, hi everyone.
Hi,
Nice to see
good
you.
afternoon, Dr. Birol. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine. Nice to see you. How are
First
you?
of all, I really thank you to take out your time for this
My
webinar.
pleasure. My pleasure.
So Prita, are we ready to start the today's session?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, just a minute. So, hi, good afternoon, everyone, and in fact, it's good evening here in India. And just to brief you about Dr. Birol, Dr. Birol is currently laboratory director and scientific advisor at Ovogene, London, United Kingdom. And he's the person who is behind the who has taken the turnkey project of over more than 20 IVF laboratory, right from designing till team formation, team training, and in different 15 different countries around the world. And he is a part of International Congress Organization for Scientific Programs in and modernization of the Congress. Besides this, besides his achievements, his I think it's a very major achievement is that he has done mitochondrial transfer development program and under which he has taken 60 patients, of which he has been able to achieve 8 live births through mitochondrial transfer. And he has worked across 15 plus countries. And he's member of Ukraine Association of Reproductive Medicine and ASHRAE and ASRM. So today we welcome Dr. Birol. He will be speaking on very innovative, very advanced, and very recent topic, that is oocyte, sperm, and embryo selection through artificial intelligence. So let's welcome Dr. Birol. Over to you, Dr. Birol.
Thank you. I will share just my presentation.
Yes, we are able to see it.
Okay, perfect. So it is pleasure to be with you, everyone here. So I will try to talk the recent updates for oocyte, sperm, and embryo selection through AI application. We will go step by step, start from eggs and then sperm and embryo. Now we are using actively in our group of the clinics, almost 8 clinics, all this AI application already more than a year. So we have already some experience, some data. Of course, AI is the application which you need to teach, you need to improve, and more data bringing more information through AI. So the first, if we try to understand how AI application is working in oocyte selection, so of course the most of the AI are working based off image database and similarity. So that means on the database we have thousands of millions of image. More image means more information for the AI and more accurate result. So the base of AI start that different type of images from the different countries, different clinics, different experience of the embryologist were scoring according ASHRAE and ASRM guidelines, that those eggs, embryos, and then this data increased, like for the many of the images. And then finally, when you take in your lab some images or video through time lapse or even microscopy, so if AI detect the similarity to such morphology, that AI is scoring. But nowadays that AI are developing much more. So we pass already the mathematical algorithm more. We are now measuring, we are detecting that we are deeply analyzing different components on the egg, embryo, and sperm. It's not just the morphological similarity, but in a background, different softwares are supporting for mathematical calculation. So of course, that for oocytes, we are more limited, while if we are not using for egg banking, for donor banking, as we know that from the patient perspective, every mature eggs is a potentially should be frozen or should be used for IVF, but still AI giving that more understandable opinion to us in case of some IVF cycles not working without reason. You cannot find the real reason. Let's say the sperm is good parameter that from the oocyte side you don't see any morphological like difficulties. Patient doesn't have any IVF history, so still AI can give you some idea regarding, and the patient is feeling more calm. But for egg banking, AI make a big sense. While this is a commercial part, as a patient side, you are paying a big amount of money and you are getting a batch of eggs, and from those donor eggs, you have a big expectation to get higher blastocyst rate, higher survival rate. That's why AI making here, let's say, more than accuracy, that they are making more standardization. So as a biological context, the firstly, of course, AI focused on the morphology as the characteristic of the oocyte, as the shape, size, cytoplasmic contents. Even now more we are going deeply for the spindle, zona birefringence, which is increasing the implantation rate or the blastocyst outcome. So based on AI, of course, more focused the time-lapse system, but I know that every clinic doesn't have time-lapse. So the base of the time-lapse using for oocyte selection is not so much comfortable, especially for egg banking, while, the time-lapse at specific dish. So you have to put it on those oocytes, then get imaging or video. Sometimes you don't have this time or possibility, while the egg donation, especially egg banking, is a dynamic. So that's why we were trying to, with a different scientific group and different, let's say, IT team, we were trying to put that also on the microscopic level that people can use in their lab. Of course, that also requires some kind of specification, technical specification. The first thing what we did, so we make a double lens as a double prism on the microscope, because usually the microscopes are including single prism, that those single prism is just showing the camera what you see in eyepiece. But here that when we put the two lens or two prism, you are getting that image from the different sides as 360. So that gives possibility to us to get more information, deep information, especially from the cytoplasmic components. So this is how working on the microscopic stage. As we are using similar like those application or those abstract, that they use some mathematical calculation or algorithm for the measurement side. We are using the similar one as we are detecting the morphological part of the oocytes. So as I said, that image is coming even as a group of image. Of course, you can do single by single, but also we are teaching now to AI to make a group egg picture like 6 to 8 oocyte. And at the same time, the system will catch that which oocytes are able to go for egg banking or for cryo, which of them can be used fresh cycle or can be used just for training or research purpose. So the first image is catching by the high definition camera, and then the information is going to this double prism, and through double prism, we are getting that 3D images, and those 3D images by the software are getting that segmentation, and then segmentation, we are getting image extraction, and finally, we have final opinion about the image and AI scoring. Of course, those are not taking even a minute, like several seconds, we are getting those scoring from the software. So how mathematical algorithm we are teaching, because AI not acting like we are showing something and AI is using this source. No, AI is always working for the similarity based. So that's why similarity can be on the image based, but also can be as a number. So that's why we teach the system as reference numbers for each component, for the polar body, for the size, the diameter of the oocytes, let's say for perimeter space, according to the ESHRE guidelines. And we teach the system those mathematical numbers. And once system catch new X and start to measure, if those references catching which we load from the ESHRE guidelines, so the system is scoring according to that as a minus or plus, that which we can accept those oocytes for the egg banking or not. So this is the system which we are collaborating with the Chloe. So the Chloe is scoring the oocytes also on the stage of zygote and giving probability of the blastocyst outcome from the oocytes. So which this part can be used for the patient benefits. Of course, in advance, you may get idea that which oocyte has probability of giving blastocyst. I'm using already several months the Chloe. I can say that probability is, of course, not 100%, even 90, 80% not. But the mostly that high score of the oocytes are giving that good probability of the blast. So on the image which you see, the zygote quality, we cannot say very high, but the system score as 8.9, pretty fine. And from those zygote, we are receiving blastocyst. So like always is not working, but I can say that it is giving kind of opinion. And like patients are pretty happy because they are getting transparent outcome or transparent information. So basically, when you load the system on the time lapse, because it's working in time lapse space only, and limited time lapse incubator for now, only in vitro life and MIRI time lapse. But still, this is again can be compatible in any other time lapse once you try to keep data and teach. So as you see that which get the red. So it is a probability of the low fertilization or low outcome as a embryonic development, which are giving you green, it's optimal, and blue is possible, let's say. So still that kind of activity which can be used for patient perspective. And this is like how main dashboard are looking. So it can give probability of the euploidy, probability of the implantation, a live birth, blastulation, I mean through egg, which you are freezing. So how we are using that on egg bank, honestly, like we are selecting the, let's say 24 eggs from the donor mature eggs selected by AI. We are trying to put them equally for each batch, because this is 3 batch, like 3 egg loads are going to different clinics, and we want each patient should get a similar number of eggs and similar quality and similar potential outcome. That's why AI is helping here, and we are sending to all of our customers together with this report, so they have some kind of probability what they will get from those eggs. At least that is creating some expectation to them. Of course, we are seeing this is AI-based, I mean, not 100% accurate, but it is kind of information for them. So it is pretty helpful from the beginning how you will deal with patient. As AI algorithm that we are using for, especially for egg banking, we have 2 parts of the AI system. Of course, one is morphological specification. So we are checking diameter, shape, like olema quality, like cytoplasmic activities, let's say vacuous, summit endoplasmic reticulum. Even now we are developing for meiotic spindle and zona pellucida. I will explain in next slide. So it's pretty helpful. But in another side, of course, this is egg bank, and we know that it doesn't mean if you have a good quality of eggs, you will get blastocysts. So not. Efficiency is very important for egg banking. So we are shipping now over 70 countries and many different clinics. We are receiving all the time efficiency reports. So for our egg donors. And this is kind of efficiency database and the background is working. So once like egg come in front of embryologist, in the same time, software is sending also the clinical information regarding donor as a stimulation protocol, cycle efficiency, age, body mass index, because one part production department is working, another part embryology. So they are not communicating all the time. So if something missed by the production part, we aim that embryologist will catch that and will give the final decision those donors should go for egg bank or not. As you know, no one can say which cat is beautiful than another because all of them are very cute, very sweet. But on egg, we are not on the same level. We still are able to select eggs. Even between the good morphology, we are able to select eggs, not under microscopy. We are limited, but with AI, this is possible. So as I said, as oocyte parameters, we are following mostly the critical morphological components, which is affecting that the survival rate, most important after warming, and which is affecting also the blastocyst outcome. So recently that we were focused more about zona birefringence because we find out once we get low zona birefringence, it's not about zona thickness. So I want to clarify this. Zona birefringence about the zona complexity. So that means how zona is protecting the environment of the oocytes. So that can be shown only by polarizator. So we are checking by the polarizator spindle, and also we are checking by the polarizator zona birefringence. Once zona birefringence is low, we are always detecting low implantation or low blastocyst outcome. So that's why zona birefringence is now in our target, and we are keeping more and more data, trying to understand if that zona birefringence and spindle are real main criteria for egg selection, and which is real affecting that the blastocyst outcome. So this is basically how system is detecting zona birefringence. So as you see that here, there is a defect on the zona, so which is catching and saying that those oocytes are not fine for cryobanking. And generally, that whole system are working that data input is coming from the lab, and the background, there are donor information, age, hormonal profile, the past cycle success, that the future of oocyte, the measurement, survival, and recipient outcome. Also, of course, the background in another part is working that technical parameter as a data processing, that engineering, also that machine learning, because each image you are taking, actually you are teaching this machine. So the data increasing, also machine is getting more accurate, software is giving more accurate results. So the validation of the software need at least thousands of images, but which is not enough, which is nothing for AI. Even, I mean, if you get a millionth image, my answer will be again the same, not enough, because you know that we are working, most of you working over 30 years, and still you are seeing some different type of cells, different morphology. So every day something different is coming in front of us. So that's why this number will never be enough to fully teach the AI and to be accurate, but still, of course, we are able to validate AI through images. So this is actually how it looks like in the embryologist page. So there is donor codes, of course. This is anonymous donors. So embryologist can see the clinical criteria as a body mass index, number of donation, which is important because number of donation and number of family creation, according to legislation of some country, very critical, and we have to keep that very precise. So at the same time, for each cycle, you are getting morphological outcome. Like first cycle 18 quality 1 to quality 2 oocyte, for example, for this donor have frozen. And then you see from the site that survival rate, average survival rate of those donor, which shipped on the different countries and different clinics, blastocyst rate average from all those cycles, and number of pregnancy we get from those donors. So embryologist able to see this page before deciding that this donor is going to egg bank or not. And then the next part that system is selecting morphological part of the oocytes. The mostly is giving polar body scoring, zona pellucida scoring, spindle scoring, perivitalin space scoring, and finally the blue marked, which is going for egg banking, and the red mark, usually if we have enough number, we are keeping for the fresh cycle for our internal clinics as egg donation process, or are going for training or research. So this is how we are detecting prior vitrification to spindle. If we have usually that very small spindle size, which is not accurate, it's going for the fresh cycle. We are not using them for a cryocycle. The reason that we are getting from those oocytes mostly cleavage arrest. So that's why we are excluding them from the egg banking. So on the final, when we come, I will show on slide and you will see that how many eggs we are using. I mean, commercially, finally, this is lost. We are losing them because of the AI decision. So this is also that our finding that for score range of spindle. So as you see, when score range is increasing 8 to 10, so blastocyst outcome is increasing dramatically. So between 0 to 2.9 is 20% just blastocyst outcome, but when you get the 8 to 10, it's increasing to 62%. So it's also showing that how important. That's why from the perspective of embryologists now, after AI, I understand more that sometimes we cannot explain why that those high quality of the oocyte, good quality of the sperm, but we cannot receive blastocyst. So always that we are searching some reason in the lab or pH or the media, but on the deep investigation, there are a lot of issues which you can find out, which is coming from the origin of oocyte, from the metabolic phase of the oocyte as well. So, and this slide shows that when we select by AI and the different senior embryologists, as you see, there are almost 10% lost for the grade 1 oocyte because we are freezing only grade 1 oocytes. So that means every 100 oocytes. So we are selecting as embryologists 10 more than AI, but this number can be small. I mean, can look small, but for an egg bank, when you multiply this with the 10,000, it will be 1,000, and then 1,000 will be approximately 100 patients. So that means our decision may affect 100 patients, which of course we don't want that. Okay, so and still, like, what is the AI connection with the euploidy? Still, honestly, if you are asking, I believe that so much, no, because, you know, morphokinetic and the chromosomal structure are not matching always, and the results, PGT-A result, usually showing us that high quality 5A is coming aneuploid, and we are pretty disappointed. But while through AI selected oocyte, what we get outcome comparing with the embryologist. So like it's showing that AI selected oocyte give 65% of euploidy, which is comparing embryologist 1 and embryologist 2 pretty high. I don't know, this is connected with AI or just a lucky cycles or like your sites go into AI, but still this is a data which we are getting, that which we find out high euploidy rate through AI selected donorettes. So this is a big data, it's a multi-center data, which with AI selection. So the difference just I want to show. So on the day 5, number of blastocysts as 43%. Of course, that number can be looked lower for egg donation cycle, but over 13,000 eggs, and there was including 400 centers here. And you can imagine that the sperm parameter didn't take in advance. Someone has testicular sperm surgery, someone has low lab condition, low experience of embryology, so that all are including. But when we come to without AI, so those number is getting even 39, is much more lower. So it seems that AI is making some improvement over here, especially when you are working with the multi-center. You have more chance of the control and optimization mechanism here. So if we go to sperm selection by AI, so this is actually more helpful. I'm also using now for every cases. It's kind of video game, I can say that as an embryology part, that is like a big enjoy work with AI to select sperm. So the AI detecting again based off morphology, like head anomaly, neck anomaly, acrosome size, tail anomaly, so that AI is giving different signal and identification for each sperm sample that can help you to select. So once that you put the sperms on the PVP and they start to swim, so or you can just crack them and to show the AI which one is a right one, and then AI is marking them with a different color as a green, red, or yellow. That green means that those sperm is potentially good for ICSI process. If it is yellow, this is average, and if it is red, you shouldn't choose this sperm. It's just marking, and under the video, like a screen, you have to follow because you will not see that under the microscope or eyepiece. You have to control that on the monitor. So when you see that sperm is marked green, just you are going to catch and crack this sperm and use those sperm for ICSI or fertilization process, as you see on the image. So one give yellow, so it's a moderate, which our aim to catch the green and to go and use for fertilization. If you ask that as a data, if I feel real improvement, for difficult cases, yes. For example, I had a one globozoospermia case, more than 10 cycle, of course, no fertilization. Like when I put them under AI, so AI was searching that which sperm, of course, give all of them red because cannot detect acrosome, and it give only to one of them the yellow as moderate, which I was selecting. And the first time in that patient catch fertilization, it fertilized those. Then it was a blast, and those patient has now a child already. So that's why, I mean, for the difficult case, maybe it's a good option. Even if high concentration of the sperm sample, it may give you a choice, because what we start to use this sperm software, I can see that the main improvement, I don't see anymore fragmented embryo. Very rarely I can see. Of course, still there are embryo development issues, cleavage arrest, so those are coming from the origin sometimes or different lab condition. But the fragmentation that mostly is coming from the sperm morphology. So if there is no some pH issue, so that is the partially helpful from the sperm selection side. And for the embryo selection, it's a more complex and complicated than oocyte and sperm, because embryo has more component and more issue. So now embryo scoring systems and all AI systems are working only that based off similarity, because to calculate the number of trifectoderm cells, there are so many, and to create standardization is not that easy. Also, the image of the embryo, you cannot get very accurate image, which you can decide that how many trifectoderm cells in such short time to measure. That's why it's going now only for the based of similarity and only through time-lapse incubator. So there are different AI components also can determine that genetic capacity. So that means it can guess that which embryo can be euploid potentially if you are not using PGT-A. But of course, the much safe way to use PGT-A. But if you are not using, if you are on the process of the selection, you cannot decide which embryo is better. So it's giving kind of opportunity. And according that several publications shows that AI selected embryos have higher euploidy, and it's closer, almost very closer to PGT-A results. I mean, I'm also using, but I work 90% of the cases under PGT-A. So I can say that the most of time that AI prediction is right, yes. But it's difficult to trust, of course, especially for those critical cases. I am working for the surrogacy, mitochondrial donation. So still that probability of AI is not enough for me. But yeah, the most of the embryo, they can guess as a high level of the euploidy rate. So here that shows the genetic scores and the viability of AI scores is pretty high, like which is comparing with the PGT-A. That can be used in the lab if you are not able to use a PGT-A, or if patient doesn't want a PGT-A and you have multiple choice of the selection as morphologically, so that can be as a tool to give decision. So also the similarity, like is giving different ranking, and sometimes those ranking is not matching with the quality which you select. So you are thinking one embryo is better than another, but AI can give totally different opinion. So sometimes I am also, I'm in the follow, or I should choose the bigger blastocyst, which is looking much better as for me, but AI is giving different prediction. Because it's not just focused on AI like morphological criteria, also the efficiency, also the like genetic probability. That's why I have totally different opinion from AI. So as I said, like the basic things, again, the morphology, but not always. Sometimes you will get totally different opinion from AI, which is not connected directly with the morphology, but with a different component. As I said, sometimes are giving low score with the very high quality of the blastocyst. Sometimes it's giving really high score with comparing low quality of blastocyst. I cannot say that is giving for BC/CC quality of oocyte as you can transfer, no, but between AA and AB or AB and BB, so AI can choose BB sometimes with a different prediction. So you can see that on if you are using AI software. So here that as data between AI selection with the PGT transfer, non-PGT transfer, and euploid transfer. So they were comparing that probability of the AI using it really improving the result. And according to that, comparing with manual prediction, there are almost 10-15% improvement. So this is still a big number. Can get considered as a series. So, and also it's giving that for the batch of embryo, for example, you have 10 embryos, you can put all 10 and AI can give you that which one you can transfer as priority, second choice, third choice, and which one you should use as last. So you can freeze the blastocyst according to those numbers on the stroke. So that also kind of advantage for the embryo selection before embryo transfer. So of course there are also limitations, and there are many limitations on AI. Still, that can be meiotic problems, genetic abnormality, like which AI cannot be directly joined. Also ovarian issues, also the general health problems, myoma, endometriosis, so which is not connected with AI, of course. Also recently that we start to make trial AI for the triggering. So you need to have that ultrasound with a good software and imaging. So then when you put when patient cycles start and which dosage you start to give, so AI can predict the whole cycle for you and can give that if you load that each ultrasound check. If you put the estradiol level, also that AI can give you suggestion the dosage and also that prediction of which day you have to make a trigger. So, I mean, for some cases, especially for the polycystic ovary syndrome patients, we find some helpful because it was increasing the maturity rate. I can say because those patients has no exactly variability for the follicular development. Some are growing fast, some are growing slow, and the trigger time is mostly affecting the outcome. So I can say that, but still needs more time, and the data is very small, so is not fully accurate. But also that AI is now including also the not just the embryology part, also the gynecology part, let's say. As here, for example, that you put estradiol level, also you put the dosage, and AI predict that recommended trigger time, which you can follow. And you have to write and also can give number of stimulation, I mean the day stimulation day and which day you have to give trigger and dosage as well. So of course, beyond of egg, sperm, and embryo selection, so AI also include now electronic witness system. This is main headache of embryologists and all around the world, and every time you are listening news story from even with high developed country as Australia, US. So because we are human dependent and human are always inside of this job, even if you are using double witnessing. So there was many different witness program, but now they start to include AI for the more control on the witness systems. So actually that we are using now that AI system, which is connected, of course, with RFID, but in the same time, we add that fingerprint if legally can be used in your country because legislations are different. You can use that the cornea detection, also that rice band with the RFID. So those can make multiple, let's say, identification approval for the patient. Patient will feel more confident for the biological mix-up. So then for each part, we are using those applications and those RFID for sperm collection, egg collection, denudation, ICSI, let's say, and even for freezing now, those strobes can be used with RFID chip. And which is the biggest advantage that you can make storage and tank control by RFID. So you don't need to take that all the time, all strobes out to put in nitrogen. So with the barcode readers, you can just chip readers inside of storage that you can hold, and you can see information, identification, strobe number. The basically where AI include the here process. So especially if you are a lab director with the big groups, as for example, under me, there are 10 different clinics and daily different process. So now AI give me a possibility that on my phone application, I can control all these 10 clinics. If they have some error, I can see on my screen, like clinic, for example, from Georgia or from Albania made error on that stage, which is coming directly to my phone screen. And I can see the image of embryo, which they are transferring, image of eggs, which they are deciding to freeze. So this is a kind of one side the comfort, another side is a safety providing. So also the data was serious, like over 15,000 cycle from the different clinics, which is the most important one. So they get from 27 clinic error on 68 times during embryo transfer. So that means RFID chip give this error that this is wrong patient or wrong dish. So imagine that if it is not happening, that means 68 embryo transfer would be wrong embryo to different patients. This is just the clinics which were using this AI system. So imagine in the world that how many cases can be happen, which is a bit scary. So there are also challenges and limitations, of course, on AI. So the main limitation is that the database is not enough, number of images is not enough, and also only specific groups and specific countries are working, because I always believe that different origins and ethnics have different quality. While I'm working in a bank, I know that very well. So South America, like if you collect egg over there, totally different quality than Ukraine, than Georgia is different, then Baltic countries are different, so Slavic countries are different. That's why that this is the limitation, and data is going only for several parts. Of course, it's a limited. Another thing is the regulatories. Of course, there is no AI legislation or law. Basically, like if you leave the decision to AI, and if patients to you, that who will be the responsible, like in front of court, AI or you? So because AI selected. So this is also the question from the regulatory side. There are, of course, ethical consideration as well. As I said, who is the decision maker here? How patient can fully trust some automation, because still most of the patient doesn't want. I mean, this happening to us. They are saying no, we don't want that. We want our embryologist select which embryo we want to transfer. So still that there are some ethical consideration and questions, and of course data privacy. So this is general issue for also the medical softwares which we are using. You know that also that there are news that some kind of patient data are stolen. So this is also privacy concerns still, that if we can keep all this identification and all this data are on the safe condition, safe server, which we will be sure that patient will not get damaged or issue for future. Of course, as a conclusion, so AI potentially is growing and potentially is making things easier for us as an embryologist, sharing responsibility with us. So we are not only the responsible for some decision, as a bit decreasing pressure on embryologists, and also embryologist has more proof, more reports, more image, to share with the patient. I mean, to don't lose the trust of patient, or to help to, I mean, support these emotional difficulties with the patient. So that patient should understand that it's not always the lab or the technology of the biology, but it's also that origin of the cells may have problems. So this is the issue. Of course, the improvement needed with the more image data sets, also that more countries and clinics should include to process and start to use AI, which can increase the chance. I mean that while we are here specific grant group, like because we are part of research, research part of this AI. I mean, we are not paying very high fee, I can say, but even that main fee that which they are charging for yearly, not very high. As for me, it can be considerable while we are spending so much the clinics are investing for the time lapse, for the different techniques like the lab structure. So still that AI considerably can be invested and can be used for patient benefit and more than patient benefit can be used for the safety of the embryologist and the lab, and also the data organization and keeping safe under safe condition all this data images. So I guess it's an advantage to use. Of course, someone believes, someone not. This is always happening in the different part of the technologies in IVF, not just for AI. But as my experience can be used, if you are using it on the right way, it will be helpful. Again, the last decision is yours as an embryologist, but AI can be helpful tool for all of us. So thank you very much for your time. If you have a question, I will be willing to listen.
So I would thank you, Dr. Birol. Thank you very much for this wonderful session. This was quite elaborate, and I think this would definitely help our embryologists to know more about AI and the role of AI, because there are still, I think, many controversies or misnorms among the embryologists with respect to the use of AI in their routine practice. And this session has definitely put a light on the actual use of AI and what we can expect in the future embryology with AI coming into the place. So now the forum is open for the questions. If you have any questions, you can please put in the question and answer or chat box, and Preta will start taking the questions one by one. Preta, over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Birol. It was a very insightful session. There are two questions in the chat box. The first one says, Sir, during your experience in the era of AI-driven embryo and gamete selection, how do current algorithms account for the biological variability, such as DFI, or in case of oocytes, the cytoplasmic maturity and epigenetics? And do you think AI can truly outperform experienced embryologists in predicting live birth outcomes?
Of course, those three things, like epigenetic part, like cytoplasmic maturation, it's a difficult for. I mean, at least now AI cannot predict them, because there are needed a different softwares or the platforms or like imaging system which can score those things. Cytoplasmic maturation, some groups are working with different like, let's say, laser system that they are trying to measure that the maturation. So this is the always like AI is a model, but AI needs a supportive models. So some information should go to AI, but it doesn't mean if you send this information, AI will decide. AI again needs the similarity algorithm. You should create an algorithm. You should send 1,000 signal from the cytoplasmic maturity, and AI should understand from 90 of them have similar, but 10 of them not. So this is the way of decision from the AI. That's why AI, I don't think will be ever able that AI will guess 100% the live birth prediction or epigenetic prediction. It will stay still on the base of morphological levels, but maybe with the more efficiency data, of course, that will create some algorithm also for the guessing of the cytoplasmic maturation probability, but not will be sure. Still, that it can say from the 10 oocytes, 6 of them has cytoplasmic maturation completed, but 4 no. But from this 6 you cannot get plus, but from 4 you can get plus, then the situation will not work, and it's happening. Of course, I can say which oocytes are not selecting by AI, which we are using not for banking, but internally they are still giving blastocysts. So it's not 100% accurate for now.
So as and when we keep using AI as a predictive tool, we also will have to, keep training the models alongside.
Yes, Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Okay, so the next question has two parts. Now, the first part, I think it's same as the previous one. So the next part, I'll ask that question here. So it says, do we consider AI as a supportive tool or something that could eventually standardize training for embryologists in the future? And because since these predictions are fundamentally based on the existing data, so do you think that these systems would be able to adapt to, any unforeseen or unseen scenarios in clinical practice over the time? If anything changes, will the systems be able to adapt to those scenarios?
Yeah, I mean, once we get to use like from the, let's say, 100,000 of the clinics, so that will get huge database, image database, then will be possible. But now, like only 5% of the total fertility clinics are in the world using AI, and all of them are not using like very actively. Because if you are working with AI, you have to spend time and effort as an embryologist as well. So that means that AI bringing you like safety, bringing you like sharing your responsibility, but also is increasing that load of your job, because you have to create those images, you have to give to AI, you have to follow. So you have to wait that the time lapse will take those images, will score. So all this additional work for embryologists, but still. That's why that many of the clinics has time-lapse incubator, but still that those time-lapse incubators most of the time are empty. They are using benchtop incubator or regular incubator. When you ask the reason, and they are saying we don't see difference. While to prepare dish, to put one by one, to align all the images, I just don't want to lose time. So AI is the same. So if you have AI, you have to use it because AI can develop only this way. So those companies are giving you AI module, but then this AI getting just depending on you, because with your data set, AI are giving more predictions. That's why, like, if you have the AI models, yeah, it can include that can join the clinically decision one day, maybe fully. But this is again depending of data set. For now, definitely no. As again, I'm saying that sometimes I'm not following AI prediction, because as for me that the morphological decision as from my side is not right. Uh, so I cannot send, for example, those kind of embryos or oocyte ships somewhere, because those they will tow and they will see they are not like a level of the quality as they are expected. But no one is focused that those eggs or embryo will give potentially implantation or blastocyst. So we are also like this. As an embryologist, we are getting 10 eggs. So we are saying 5 of them is good, 5 not, but we can receive the pregnancy with that 5, which we are considering as worse. This is happening. So it's happening also for AI. I mean, this is depending how you will learn to trust AI. I mean, it's sometimes difficult. I'm trying, but this is a decision of embryologists, of course.
Right, you are very, very correct. Now, so merging this with what I had a doubt of is, what do you think the accuracy rate or the reliability rate of these AI tools? How would you grade them? Like in what percent? So for some tools, I know for embryo selection tools, they say that they have an accuracy of say around 60 to 70% when it comes to deciding if the blast is going to give a live birth. But as for oocytes and sperms, how accurate do we think is
Yeah.
accurate?
So oocytes, we recently start to use already like 6 months. I can say for oocytes, I was expecting it will be very low, like 40, 50, but it is high. But for me, it's a difficult if we work internally, because internally we can control all process with all those frozen eggs. We are thawing, we are processing, we have standardization in the lab, and we know what to do. So that's why in our lab internally, like which AI predicts that all sites will go blast, it's now around 70-80%. So it's going to blast, which AI said. But when we go to multi-center, this also give me that information. It's dropped to 50%, 40-50%, because of the other clinical indication. So how they are towing, how they are processing, like which media they are using, what lab condition they have. So those are affecting.
And I think it becomes particularly different for sperm, difficult for sperm actually, because it
Yeah.
not just depends on how the model is going to predict it, it also depends on the ICSI technique, how the process is done, what is the expertise of the embryologist. So basically, everything surrounding factors also play a major role in determining what the outcome is going to be, even after using a particular tool for gamete selection.
Yeah, of course. Still, that like no, we don't need to worry. Still, AI dependent on us. So still,
Yeah.
we are the king. We are the king.
So that answers another question
Yeah.
here where somebody asked, do you really think AI is going to replace the embryologist in the future? So I guess the answer is no.
No.
AI is only going to be a supportive tool to help
Yeah. It's
embryologists make better
just a
decisions.
good friend. That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So there's one more question uh, that says, what makes AI perform relatively low on the oocyte stage with around 0.6 AUC?
Yeah, like I understand the question. Okay, with a different way, but the on the oocyte is the main issue, like imaging. So we are using a time lapse, but oocyte is a single cell. It's not a like embryo. Embryo has a multiple cells, and AI have more component or more idea to detect, because if you put 5,000 embryo scored by 5 different embryologists. So AI will get some similarity algorithm. But for all sites is a single cells. So for when you put on AI, that all sites are looking similar for AI. For embryo, there are differences, but for all sites is a single cell with a single polar body. So it's giving the difficulties to AI how to score. That's why if AI find out a single cell with a single polar body, you will see on the score always 8.9, 9.2, 9.2 is a similar. Like there are differences, of course, for sure there are differences, as that another colleague was asking, cytoplasmic maturity. Of course, that all those oocytes probably doesn't complete cytoplasmic maturity, or probably they have different size of spindle, but AI not able to detect. For AI, morphologically, all of them are the same.
So we have taken all the questions.
Okay,
There is one suggestion, I think, in the chat. I'll just read out. This is not a question. I think it is a kind of discussion. So somebody said, what I consider as the main problem is lack of explainability. We still use black box models, which decisions cannot be verified. From that point of view, it is just a guess. So we have to start to demand glass box models and increase transparency.
Yeah, that's true. So hopefully one of us can do that one day. I'm not that person. Yeah.
So I think with this, we will finish today's session. And just for those who are new to this webinar, so this is a webinar series which takes place on 3rd of Friday every month, and we'll meet you next month in the May month on 3rd Friday with a new speaker with a new topic. Until then, goodbye and take care. And thank you once again, Dr. Birol, for this
It was
wonderful
my
session.
pleasure.
We
Yeah.
really enjoyed listening to you. It was
Thank you. Thank you.
really were quite knowledgeable as well as fun for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for attending the session today. Bye bye.